So I really like this. I think it takes lots of similar but different inspirations
Hmm.
to create something which is of its own. And it's something that I would have definitely listened to in 1990, and I am more than happy to listen to in 2025.
Awesome.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Audiophiles. My name's John. His name is Andy. Oh, hi on Diesel and Gasoline. Psycho for Drum Machine. Shaking their bits to the hits. Oh, drag outs, suicides. In your dad's suits you hide, staining his name again. More on that another time. But we have tunes to this too. Andy, what do you got?
Well, I have a band that I'd like you to check out. They go by the name Bean Magazine. And I see it may be waving some red flags, but it's definitely not ringing any bells with you. So
Is
these are,
that being as in human being,
no, it's Bean, Bean as in green or
as
pinto.
in as in Francis Bean?
Yes, yes.
Oh, good.
And the track by them is called The Weather. So yeah, go off, give this thing a listen, and let me know what you've made of it.
It's nice. Yeah. So it's it's a nice start. It's that kind of reminds me of like Benjamin Britten's, young person's guide to the orchestra. And now here's this. Now here's this. Um, the bass comes in and he's not tuning up. But he actually is playing. And then we get the hi-hat percussion, and it's that tippy 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 that's like in an old-fashioned way indicates either intrigue or the beginnings of a fight scene in a 50s musical. And then we get this guitar come in that's really sort of sounds really nice, very 90s, early 90s sound to it. Yeah, I'm enjoying this a lot. Okay. I like the vocals. Answers on a postcard if you understood more than 3 words of what he said. Is that classic? Then what me? You just get like 2 words of a sentence. Yeah. This is just so many songs like that. It's just second nature now. I love it. The guitar in that's really nice because it's going kind of angular. It's got a touch of yeah, acidity to it, kind of like what I'd associate with Kristen Hirsch, sort of like, yeah, real Ramona, that sort of era throwing muses, and even a bit of later Pixies, Joe Santiago as well. It's just got that nice, and it kind of also creeps around itself as well, and threatening to splinter, and it's really nice. Really like that. Yeah. I think I just blown it. This bit here is nice, but normally you'll get some sort of drum fill, and it will then break out into raucous guitar that's perhaps a little bit um, atonal, as I say. Let's just go back a bit. Rising up, soaring vocals. So we've gone back into this same bit again, but now rather than that sort of jangly guitar, that sort of, yeah, precise but sort of meandering guitar, we're now getting, where's the Dinosaur Jr. start chopping. Yeah, so it's very rhythmic, and it accentuates the sort of rhythm section as well. Really nice. Let's just pull this back. Okay, let's just bring that back a little bit. That was really interesting. $10. The bass was doing something really nice there for the sort of bit that was gelling it together. It sounded really nice. Should have gone on for a lot longer. This is a short song. 'Sorry, I'm putting this back loads and really pissing you off, I know, but really interesting there again. So we got to like a holding pattern strumming, and it starts to build and more forceful drums, and then there's crashing sort of almost single note, and I think it gets amplified and built on. I don't know if it's like, pissed about vocal bits coming in on the same note or some synths or something, but it's extending out this soaring single note that keeps going, and everything else is sort of kicking off around it. Really nice. It's a technique that we've heard before, but it just works really well. There's always you get that when there's that final echoing, reverbing sort of chord or whatever. There's always got to be a couple more sort of clanks, or something, and they just can't leave it. I really, really enjoyed this. There's several sort of reference points, inspiration points that they've taken from stuff that's really familiar to me. Um, but they put it together in a way that made something sound quite new. I would happily listen to this in 1990, and I'm more than happy to listen to this in 2025. Yeah, it sounded great. I particularly like the end. Um, that sort of single note, I think the vocals coming on the same pitch. It felt like it was some sort of heat seeker passing through and stuff was kicking off. And so when it got to that bit with the vocals, the song vocals come back in, it really sounded fuller and it all made sense. Um, yeah, good stuff. I'm really interested to find out about these guys, and um, I guess that some people would be lazily label them, sort of grunge or whatever, but yeah, it's better than that. Um, but yeah, we need to find out more. So let's go back and let's chop it up with Andy.
Right, you're back in from the weather. What do you make of this track by Bean Magazine?
Hmm. Yeah, interesting. So it kind of starts. I mean, this is condensed down to a short period of time, but it kind of starts with I just thought of Benjamin Britten's The Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra. See Wes Anderson's lovely, wonderful film, Moonrise Kingdom. Um, if you want to be reminded of just how good an actor Edward Norton can be, very, very occasionally. Anyway, so first we hear the bass. Now you may think he's just tuning up, do 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 do, but he's actually playing. Um, Next we're joined by the percussion, and they've got this lovely sort of tapping on the hi-hats, which would normally indicate intrigue or the precursor to a fight scene in a 1950s musical. But no. So the rhythm section is formed. Now into the guitar, stage left, with this really solid sort of early 90s riff, soon to be united with his stage right compadre. The second the guitar, I don't know if it's the same one overdubbed or whatever, but he does that delightful thing of emulating a duck. That's all whack, whack, whack. And then he joins forces with the existing riff, and they become something sort of bigger, stronger, more sentient, much like G-Force in Battle of the Planets. Um, it's kind of quite easy, I suspect a little bit lazy, to label this grunge inspired. But I think, well, yeah, I definitely heard more than that. Um, there's a really nice touch of, call it acidity to the tone of the guitar.
Yeah.
Um, um, or umami, I don't know what to call it. There's that other sort of bit that's not quite sweet or sour or salty. And that is kind of what I associate with Kristen Hurst, Muses, um, or Joey Santiago Pixies, right at the beginning of the 90s. So Rio Morona, trombones or whatever. Um, it also has that element within the guitar line of it kind of being like an interesting structure, the riff, almost like it's turning or twisting back on itself. Um, Kind of reminded me for some reason of a lizard detaching its own tail. I don't know why, but it did. So the singer comes in and he employs that wonderful dialect known as half sense. So it was very, very, very common in the early 90s, where you listen and you recognize the sound of consonants and vowels, and some of them can easily pass for a discernible language. But and just as you're about to mentally sort of turn away, you then catch a single bloody word and it reels you back in again. So this is what I made of his first few lines. Dear Haftin a dislight, some mank, some rind that chun night, your hat trace what you made. Yeah, classic stuff. So we now get into so he does this versey bit, and as I say, the guitars are really nice here, but they're kind of all this jangly mixed with a bit of vinegar or something as well. So there's a little bit of sort of interest in there. Really, really nice.
Yeah.
So we get to this interesting part of the next section of the song, which is repeated later, but I'd struggle to call a chorus or a refrain. Perhaps it is. but you get these lovely echoey vocalizations that seem to remind us that we're now positioned in a very highly vaulted temple of noise, and the sounds are rising and probably growing wings. Um, Usually, this is a big red flag being waved that says, "Put your fingers in your ears, because here comes the next loud, raucous bit, and it might not all be in tune." Um, so we get a medium paced drum fill, which has my digits readied. But no, instead we get a very brief cameo of this sort of stretching guitar, with something very much akin to Tanya Donnelly's Belly, circa Slow Dog, which is interesting because she's step half. She's a kind of sister to Kristen Hirsch anyway, and they're both in Throwing Muses. So we've got a similar sort of guitar sound, and it's reminded me of two different bands where the sisters were in. So that's really interesting
That's
to me.
cool.
And of course, she was in the first iteration of the Breeders as well, which is a
Hmm.
really wonderful first album of theirs. Um, so then we go back round once more. But this time, the second verse is the same. If anything, ching fast, it's about, and what you make of it. But within the jangly guitar has now been replaced with a choppy one. In the words of Dinosaur Jr., start chopping. And it accentuates the rhythm section. So you're getting these really highlighted, all the thumps and the splashes along with the guitar. Really
Hmm.
nice stuff. And of course, in the words of Pete Townsend, we won't get fooled again. So when those drums start thumping after the second airy vocal part, it's no surprise that we do get a brief guitar solo for all of 10 seconds. 204 to 214, I had a look and checked, couldn't believe it. Um, and then what's really nice is as it starts to make these really sort of, it's something, I don't know why, but again, the image came to mind of somebody, the first part where the guitar starts sort of wailing. It just reminded me of someone standing there with eels inside their wellies. That's the sort of feeling I got. I don't know why, but it did. Um, but the bass plays a really. It sort of it comes in and sort of holds its hand a bit for the sort of the final 5 seconds. It sounds really. It's just a sort of, it sounded great. Really
Yeah.
did. And it adds something special to it. And it again is straight out of the summer of 1990. It really is. With a quick cymbal splash, we go into a holding strum pattern, which then builds. And then as it starts to go, we get this wonderfully extended note, which I believe I had to bring it back. I thought for a minute there was synths were carrying it on, but I think it's vocalizing. They vocalize on the note as well. And it just burns through. Again, I have this vision in my mind of a heat-seeking harpy going through the village and little wooden huts bursting to light as it
Mm.
passes it. And there's all these things kicking off um, left and right as it's progressing through the song. And it's also like it's the final bit of string on a murder board. And it's suddenly all the connections are made because
Mm.
back comes in that sort of airy, dreamy vocal section. But now with all this extra noise and the line through there, it just sounds rather than just being pretty and airy, it sounds wondrous now. It sounds really good. Um, the final chord reverberating, and of course, it has to do a bit of clanking here and there as it's fading out, because that's what you do in those sort of songs.
Yeah.
Um, so I really like this. I think it takes lots of similar but different inspirations
Hmm.
to create something which is of its own. And it's something that I would have definitely listened to in 1990, and I am more than happy to listen to in 2025.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm really glad you liked it. And you're absolutely right. You can almost, upon first listen, you can as it unfolds and it comes to an end, you can look back and realize it's almost like they went through a buffet and picked little pieces of different sounds and put together this lovely little plate that is this track and indicative of their sound as a whole. So yeah, really cool stuff. I only heard about these guys 5 months ago or so. Um, Really interesting sound. I've been enjoying what I've heard from them thus far, and I'm looking forward to more from them in the very near future, as we will get into as I go over these notes. So, B Magazine, they are a three piece from Brisbane, Australia. and they are comprised of drummer Gabrielle Byers, bassist Seb Barron, and vocalist and guitarist Henry Kramer. They've been described as an indie rock trio that effortlessly blend punk energy, sensitive lyrical sensibilities, and classic rock. Now, really quickly about the sensitive lyrical sensibilities. Uh, Full disclosure, your assessment of interpreting this lyrics was exactly my experience as well. And I thought, oh my God, thank God for lyric websites. And then I thought, oh shit, this is one of the few tracks of theirs that don't have lyrics anywhere on the internet. And this is the one that I wanted to give to you. At least the first one of theirs that I wanted to give to you. So I did my best to try to piece these lyrics together, and we will get to it. But this is solely through my own interpretation, and we've already heard yours. So that's just a preview of what kind of job I probably did getting to that anyone would do trying to discern these lyrics. It got so bad, John, that I literally reached out to the band on Facebook and was like, could you please provide me with the lyrics of this track? I'm a big fan here in the States. And what did I get? I was left on red. They saw the message and didn't respond to it at all. So I probably just look like
I'm
some
surprised
weird.
they didn't come back. Say to, well, of course, I've never let them on the camera.
That's how they tell you. I'm like, oh shit, back to where I started. So yeah, that was my homework experience trying to put all this together and cobble together these lyrics that we'll get to in a bit. So bear with me.
See, Andy, not every band is as friendly as Primo Dangler.
Primo Dangler. If they see this, I hope they know that was a joke. Yeah, they B Magazine draws influence from a wide range of artists spanning from alt indie to modern rock, and their sound is characterized by jangly guitar riffs, driving bass lines, and upbeat rhythms. According to the band, they met as most bands do, through mutual friends and bonded over their passion for music. This quote, it was a whole lot of right place, right time energy, and this all happened right before COVID. So we had a lot of time or a lot of spare time to bring everything together. Bean Magazine's incredible live shows haven't gone unnoticed by fans and artists alike, evidenced by being the support for ballpark music for a 4 night sold out run at Brisbane's iconic Princess Theatre back in May of 2023. This is in addition to a headline slot at 2024's Mountain Goat Valley Crawl and headlining shows at other iconic venues like the Brightside, Felons Barrel Hall, and the Outpost, all to sold out crowds. So Bean Magazine have been setting the Brisbane music scene alight for a few years now and continue to do so as they are simultaneously touring and gigging in support of their debut album, as well as showcasing their newest material featured on their forthcoming EP entitled Folly, which is due out Friday, June 6th. So we're just a little over a month away as we record this here on May 1st. So yeah, B Magazine are heading out on the road from May to July, so probably right now they're getting things kicked off on a mammoth 28-day national tour with Brisbane's Ballpark Music, another famous band from out there, who they themselves have been announced as a support for Oasis later in the year. Um, it was in September of 2024 that the band released their debut album, full length, In the Shade, produced by Ballpark Music's Sam Cromack, which signifies a leap forward in songwriting ability as well as production value. The album features this track that we listened to today, The Weather, that I had you check out. And it was, or has been described as floating between touching songwriting, anthemic ballads, and balls to the wall heavy goodness. That's the album, not the track, just so I'm clear. So interesting stuff on that album. I've enjoyed my listens to it thus far. In an article slash interview for Broken 8 Records, bassist Seb Barron explained that the band's excitement about finally sharing In the Shade with the world. We've been sitting on this body of work for In the Shade for a while now, and are so excited for it to see the light of day. When we brought these songs to our producer, Sam, over a year ago, he immediately expressed similar levels of excitement. The album, as a whole, encompasses everything we have been as a band since the beginning, and we want everyone to love it as much as we do. And according to Broken Records' Thomas Bedward, who penned this article that featured that quote, "In the Shade is a sonic tapestry that weaves together the raw energy of punk, the hard-on-sleeve lyricism of indie rock, and the timeless appeal of classic rock. Henry Creamer's vocals channel the spirit of '90s grunge icons, delivering each line with a passion that is both captivating and cathartic. Gabrielle Byers' drumming provides a driving rhythm that propels the songs forward, while Seb Barron's bass lines anchor the music with a solid groove." Writing a review of the album for Album of the Year, Tony Listano opined on this track, "Off the bat, we get The Weather, which is a great piece of droning, whiny alt rock that feels like it crashes into this wonky post chorus break with some extremely dramatic guitars cutting through it all. It invokes a feeling of nostalgia with some classic grunge sounds." And he would say of the album and the band, "While In the Shade is not a perfect album, Bean Magazine are what I want Australian indie or what I think indie Australian rock should be. They feel like they have a distinct set of inspirations from which they are making their own sound, rather than just aiming for a generic indie rock sound, while creating something new with it. I think Bean Magazine has here a strong springboard to eventually create something huge." Let's get into these lyrics that I hope I interpret. I'm thinking a 70% on this one. It's probably a C minus effort, but that delivery was a D minus in clarity. So throw me a bone here. Um, do you have to?
Or an A plus in Esperanto.
That's a possibility. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Uh, do you have to work this hard? Some like someone that you're not. When I get just what you need. Whoever, whoever, whoever decides it's forever, whatever the letter writes. Do you have to trust the past? Requires someone that you're not. It takes forever, Maxine. Whoever, whoever, whoever decides it's forever, whatever the letter writes. Whoever, whoever, whoever decides it's forever, whatever the letter writes. So yeah, even if I am 100% correct in my interpretation of what the lyrics are, I have yet to piece together any interpretation as to what they mean. So, and for me, this isn't always true. Obviously, I am a bit of a lyric person when it comes to ingesting music. It's all about the fucking guitars for me on this one, man. The bass too, and the drum beat steady and keeps everything together. But the tones of the guitars and the choices on what they do. The first time I heard it, I was It's like they zagged when I thought they were going to zig, in a couple parts of the song, and that enough at this point of my music listening experience is enough to capture my attention. On top of it just being kind of in the niche genre that I kind of dig anyway. So yeah, there was a lot going for this that I really liked. The interesting dynamic of a gentle voice with these grittier guitar tones was really interesting too. This isn't that If it was that voice with the overproduced super clean and bright guitars that some indie rockers do, it wouldn't have hit near as much with me. And I think you probably even less so with you. But there is this shade of like '90s grunge to this sound that, coupled with that later aughts indie voice, kind of is an interesting thing for me. It's an interesting little cocktail. And the bass work was really fabulous on this. Just overall, just thought it was a really cool, interesting song. And that's what led me down the path of checking out this album that I really like. So maybe as time passes, I'll pick something from this or this future album that is about to drop and bring it back to the channel, since it seems you genuinely liked listening to the
Yeah,
song.
definitely, definitely.
Cool, cool, awesome. Well, Interesting band name notwithstanding, and lyrics that are hard to parse out. This is a pretty big hit with me. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm glad you did too. Guys out there in the listening audience, please let us know what you made of Bean Magazine and this track, The Weather. If you enjoyed the sound, I mean, obviously John was swimming in the summer of 1990 when he was listening to this thing. Where did it take you guys? What genre, bands, anything, time period? What did listening to this make you think of? I'd be interested to hear what y'all have to say. I'm sure a lot of people are going to agree with 90s grunge was the thing that kind of stood out with this one the most. But comments field is there for a reason. Please drop your thoughts. Love to hear from you guys. Love interacting with you guys. Also, please like, share, and subscribe if you'd be so inclined. We really do appreciate it. It helps us over here at the channel. And it's really all we ask of you outside of offering up some song suggestions for our Friday episodes, which our comments field is always open for y'all to do. So hopefully, John and I will catch all y'all in growing numbers in the next installment of the Audiophiles. We'll see you later, guys.